Hello data friends. Meet our full-time Microsoft Data Platform enthusiast, a passionate advocate for sharing knowledge, Cathrine Wilhelmsen. Cathrine, with a wealth of experience in Fabric, Synapse, Azure Data Factory, and various other data platform domains. She is not only a data analytical lead, but also a speaker, organizer, event, and blogger. Are you interested in her journey, beginnings, and the challenges she's faced in the tech world? Let us delve into the discourse documented several years ago and extract insights from the insights shared by Cathrine Wilhelmsen. This is episode number 7 of Ask SQL Family, and my name is Kamil. I'm your host. Are you ready?
Welcome to Ask SQL Family podcast. This is episode number 7. And our guest today is Cathrine Wilhelmsen.
Hi, Cathrine.
Hello.
Thank you for accepting my invitation for that
Thank you for
interview.
inviting me.
Say something about yourself. Introduce yourself to the people who are listening us.
Yeah, so my name is Cathrine Wilhelmsen. I'm from Norway. And if you are Norwegian, my name is Cathrine Wilhelmsen, but not a lot of people can pronounce that.
Yes, that's very hard.
I'm a very active volunteer in the PASS community. I've been working as the PASS community evangelist for the last year, and I'm coming up on my last month there, where I will go back to just being a volunteer. So after that, I will be working on data warehousing and BI projects, and very focused on BimL. That's my big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. So recently, the new book has been released.
It has, yeah. It actually hasn't been released yet. You can pre-order it. It's done. I think it will be released early December. So that is called the BimL book. Very difficult title there.
Yeah.
And it's a full book by Scott Curry, the creator of BimL, and Mr. Andy Leonard, one of my personal heroes, who led that book project. And we're a bunch of other authors as well. Most of us are BimlHero heroes who have been helping out writing that book. So very proud co-author of that book.
Well, I would like to ask about something else, because for sure the book will be a great present for many people, including me and Kamil, as we also work on BI projects as well. But I would like to ask you about something else, because as there are not so many women in the IT projects, how do you convince women or young girls, including my daughter, to start to be a very good IT professional?
I think part of that is encouraging them to get involved from an early age. And this is a very complicated question, to be honest. You'll get 1,000 different replies to this. But what I would say is, if you have small children, it's very common to buy girls things like, dolls and teddy bears and things like that. But try and see if you can find some other things like puzzles or lab experiments or something like that, and do it with girls as well. They're not just for boys. So if you start with an early age on things like that and get them interested in something that is super fun, then that interest will probably gradually increase over time to a point where they get into something like IT or even other STEM related areas like math and science and so on. So what I would say is start early. Start with doing the things that you do with boys when it comes to tech and IT. It's very gender separated at an early age. And the same thing with, a lot of clothes are pink for girls and blue for boys. Stop doing that, treat them the same way. And that goes the other way as well. Like, play with dolls with boys as well. Goes both ways. So that's it. And then after that, when they get a little older, there are a lot of things like Girls in Data and Tech Girls, all of these different initiatives where girls can get together and learn about, playing with robots, learning to program, and doing all of these things that might inspire them to get involved.
Well, that's great, because exactly this is how we started. And right now, as my daughter is 14 actually, so she still has to fight at school that she can do better things on the computer in terms of programming than her colleagues. And sometimes also the teacher says that as you are a girl, you should not play on computer that much. It's for boys. And this is very tough for her because she has to still convince also the teacher that, well, I can also do that and I can be better than boys.
Yeah, and that is the other side of it, where I would encourage especially men in the IT industry to work on changing those attitudes and changing the things that, you know, they convey. So if you hear someone say that, talk to them, especially man to man, and say that, hey, I don't think that this is the right attitude, because we need more women, we need more diversity in our business.
Absolutely.
And
right.
I feel like if that's coming from, you know, an older man, in which case it many cases does, then get another man to tell him that, hey, we might want to change this, and talk to him that way, and try and change those attitudes.
Yeah, that's right.
Still, I think the problem is that the woman need to, unfortunately, prove them knowledge more than you know, the men's.
All the time, all the time.
Unfortunately, it's still the case. We do need to speak louder, and we do need to fight harder to be heard, even if we are equally, you know, in the IT industry. And that's something we need to work on, and that's something that everyone needs to work on. So if you see anything where someone is treated unfairly, if it's a woman or a man or whatever, speak up and start fighting those attitudes and those biases.
Yeah, I always do.
Thank you.
And basically,
one more thing, Kamil, because maybe I would like to summarize this thread. And like last week, because I was trying to write a blog post, and I was with my daughter in Prague during the SQL Saturday, and she was with me on the stage doing demos. And I told her, Cathrine, about you, that I gave her your example, that women like you can be like in PASS organization or in terms of presenting stuff. You are one of the best and one of the most recognized person in our community, and that's great. So at least she knows you, and she knows what she can do with that. But right now she's thinking about how can I achieve that. That's her next goal.
Yeah, so thank you for that compliment. And there are so many great women in the SQL Server community. And I think that is maybe my last point on this thread here, is that we need more women to be out there, to be role models. And something that I try to do is I don't want to just talk about being a woman in tech. I want to actually be a woman in tech. I want to create blog posts. I want to be out there speaking, standing up, being visible, and actually providing, you know, being a role model for young women and girls who might see, you know, oh, hey, there's another short blonde girl who can actually do this, and to be a kind of role model so they can see more people doing this. So I think that's important as well for our community, to have more women speakers, presenters, bloggers actually doing these things and just showing that we can do it, and we can do a good job.
Yes, and for sure you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the beginning. When do you start your adventure with IT, and how? Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh! Well, it's been a long story. For me, I've always been a geek. So back when I was 9 or 10 is when I started learning how to build my own websites. And I hated the drag and drop interfaces because they couldn't do what I wanted them to do. So I started learning HTML and CSS, and that's kind of how I got into this. A few years later, I started learning, you know, MySQL because I needed a backend system, and PHP as well because that's what I used back then. And that got me into the world of, you know, programming and development. And then I've had a couple of years in high school, or the Norwegian equivalent of high school, where I studied media and communication. I did a lot of graphic design, interactive design, and so on. So I moved on through university, where I did even more hopping back and forth. I started something called interactive design, which is where I learned Java programming for the first time. I thought that was really cool. I learned more about databases, and then I ended up finishing with a bachelor's degree in Java programming. Don't tell anyone.
Now it's very popular, Cosmos DB and etc. So
yeah. So I have like this very diverse background, and then. So funny thing is I couldn't actually find a project on Java programming as my bachelor's project, so that's when I learned SharePoint. I was assigned on a SharePoint project and I learned that. Then I got hired as a SharePoint consultant in my first job, but they didn't have any SharePoint projects, so they said, we're going to put you on this data warehouse project. And that's how I got into data warehousing and BI. So it's been very back and forth, but I have a long background. I always knew that I wanted to get into IT, that I wanted to work with it, and I know, programming, design, database development, so I can do a lot of fun things, and I love doing all of these things. So that was a bit of a background, but I accidentally ended up in data warehousing, and I stayed there because I love it.
You also achieved the MVP award. It was 2 years ago, I guess.
In 2015.
Yeah, 2015. So it's very, a big achievement even for men. Yeah, and you did
Absolutely.
that. You did that as a woman. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's good.
And that's something I'm very proud of. I'm the only data platform MVP in Norway, and I'm the only female MVP in Norway. So
Wow,
that
great.
is a big achievement. And again, going back to actually being out there and being a role model, I'm very honored that Microsoft saw my contributions to the community and gave me that award. It meant a lot to me.
Yeah, I think you are doing a lot of various things, so it's totally deserved.
Thank you.
Yes, that's right. So it's great that you, at one point of time, you did a project in SQL Server or Data Platform, because you are now in our Data Platform community and not in SharePoint community. So it's only good for
Yes.
us, for the entire community, I should say. And do you have tools you like the most during your daily work?
I do. Am I allowed to mention specific product names in this podcast?
You
So
can
I'm
say
a huge
whatever you
fan
want.
of the Red Gate tools, and SQL Prompt is by far my favorite tool out there. SQL Prompt, I use it every single day for pretty much all the work I do in in the SQL. So that is a product that I use and that I will invest in on my own. If my employer or company don't want to pay for it, I would buy that on my own. So that is by far my favorite product. And the other side, obviously, like I mentioned in my introduction, is Biml. Biml is also part of it is free. That changed my life when I started learning Biml. And there's also the licensed version of that. So those are kind of the two things that I can't live without in my workday.
As you are an MVP, what do you think about this program?
About the MVP program, I think I absolutely love the program because it recognizes people who do a lot of things for the community, and they're focused on awarding people who help others in many different ways, either by speaking, blogging, answering things on forums, and I'm so happy to see that Microsoft recognizes that community contributions are so important. I think that the flip side of that is you don't have to be a technical expert anymore to become an MVP, and a lot of people still think that if you're an MVP, you know everything. So that can be a little difficult as well when you have to say that, I actually don't know anything about that topic at all. But it's also a little black box because there are no set steps to become an MVP, so a lot of people are a little confused about that. But I think in general, it's a great award that helps build up our community and encourages people to share their knowledge and help others.
I have very similar thinking about this program. So maybe, Kamil, we should ask Cathrine
Yes.
about the hobby. What's your hobby?
My hobby hobby?
Yeah.
My work is my hobby. No, honestly, like I mentioned earlier, I've always been a geek. I've always enjoyed programming, developing, graphic design, doing all of those things. On my blog, that's kind of my little creative area where I get to do some web development and graphic design as well. So I've always enjoyed those things, but I do, once in a while, I actually do things outside of my computer as well. So I love hiking. I'm from Norway. We go hiking a lot. So around, mountains and waterfalls and exploring the nature and forests and all of that. It's a great way for me to disconnect and kind of just relax and disconnect my brain and focus on just being in the present. So I love doing that. I also quite enjoy it's not computers, but I do love reading, watching movies, sci-fi, fantasy fan. But I think those are kind of my main things, and I enjoy traveling a lot. I've been fortunate enough to be able to travel to a lot of events all around the world. So I love traveling and seeing new places and trying new food as well. I'm not a good cook, but I like eating food.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to be a good cook to love food. Yeah.
But I have to say one thing. You totally miss one event, and by the way, Kamil and me, we are one of the organizers of this event, and this is SQL Day in Wrocław, and
yes.
I think it's a good time and you should visit us definitely next year and give us a talk, because people actually have been asking about you, so you are definitely on our list, and I think it would be also good to visit Poland. Just to see how the country...
I completely agree with you. I have missed that event for several years, and I've been sad when I've seen all the amazing, pictures and tweets on that. So I absolutely want to join you guys, and let's try and make that work.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Tell us something about your work-life balance, because it's very hard if you're working in IT. It's very hard to find the appropriate way.
Work-life balance, that's a tricky one, especially for me now, being so involved in the community, where kind of work and the rest of my life is blending together. I think what's important to me is I work a lot remotely, so I work from home, I work from other places, and I think it's important to have kind of a set schedule where you work certain hours, and then when you're done working, get up and go somewhere else. Like turn off your computer and go somewhere else. I'm still on Twitter most of the time because all my friends are in the community, so there are a lot of things that are related to work. But don't have work emails constantly on your phone. Don't be available on Slack all the time. Be clear and set those boundaries for yourself and say that I'm available for work during these hours. And if I choose to be on Twitter and have fun conversations with friends after that, that's my choice, because that's kind of my hobby as well. But I think the important thing is get up and go do something else and go away from like your work area, even if you're working remotely.
Mm-hmm. So you are working remotely currently, and where are you living?
Well, I still live in Norway, born and raised, and I still live there. And by living there, I mean that I own an apartment where I store my things.
Okay.
I've been traveling so much.
But which city in the USA?
In Oslo, in Norway. But I'm the last couple of months, I've been spending a lot of time in Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful mountains, gorgeous for hiking.
Like here around the Seattle.
I
saw a lot
little
of
different.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of water in Denver in the middle of the country, but it's still gorgeous. Yeah.
What's your daily habits?
My daily habits. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, hard question.
That is a difficult question. But,
I didn't prepare you for that kind of
No,
questions.
you didn't prepare me for that one. Daily habits. Well, I get up, I eat breakfast, I have coffee, and then I start my workday. So the one thing I like to do is for lunch breaks to get up and go outside and go for a little walk or something like that, which just helps me since I'm sitting down so much during a day. And then, have dinner, try as much as possible to go to the gym. That doesn't happen every day. And then relax for a few hours. So I'm not sure I have any other weird daily habits. I think that's it.
Okay,
yeah.
fine. I think you are a very good, very good speaker.
Thank you.
Because you're doing a lot of speech across the many conferences, basically. And the question is, how you're preparing yourself for the speech?
Oh, I spend a lot of time preparing for my presentations. I probably spend on average around 20-30 hours on a new presentation, building the slide deck, building the content. It's very important to me to have a good flow and a good story in my presentations. And then I also spend a lot of time just making sure that my slides look nice. They look nice to me. I'm sure others disagree. But just try and make it very visual, finding some pictures, illustrations, working on that. And then I always, I rehearse the session. I go through it a couple of times. I try and rehearse in front of the mirror, which is very awkward, but it's something that you have to do to prepare. And just run through it a couple of times, make sure that I write down how much time each section of my session takes. And that actually allows me to see, I don't have to follow a script, but I know I have 10 minutes to cover this topic, 10 minutes to cover that, and then if I'm early or late, I can adjust it and kind of still stay on time.
Yeah, and so, then you can feel comfortable. Yeah.
Yes,
those,
I can.
Presenting, yeah.
And then I know if I need to speed up a demo or cut a demo if I'm running late, or if I need to explain something a little more detailed. And that seemed to work well for me, at least. Yep.
Do you stress before?
Yes, I do. I don't get as nervous anymore, but if it's a new talk, I'm always nervous because if I haven't delivered it before. If it's a talk I've done a couple of times, I'm a little less stressed, but I always get butterflies in my stomach and I'm always a little nervous. And I think that's good because I think that's a good sign that you care about what you do.
Exactly, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think exactly the same, yeah. Tell us something about the PASS organization and what are you doing exactly in the PASS?
So in PASS, I've been working as a community evangelist. I've been focusing on SQL Saturdays. So SQL Saturdays, you may know, they're free one-day training events that we have around 100 each year all around the world. And a large part of my job has been working with SQL Saturday organizers to help them publish new events and follow up with any questions, but also mentor new SQL Saturday organizers. So help them, if they go, hey, I want to do this, how do I get started? Explain the steps and what they need to do, give them helpful tips on how to find a venue with sponsors and speakers and marketing and all of these things. And then I'm also lucky enough that I've been able to travel to some of these events and be on site representing PASS, again, sharing, what is PASS, what do we do, and talk to people about getting involved in the community.
So, and unfortunately you are leaving the PASS organization.
Yes, I have.
If it's not secret.
It's not secret, no, it has been announced. I'm leaving PASS in mid-December, so I have, when we're recording this, it's about a month left. So I'm getting through PASS Summit, which is where we're currently at. This week is, a lot of fun, and then the next couple of weeks working on finishing off the projects I have and handing over to my coworkers who will be taking over the things that I've been doing. But I'm not leaving PASS. I'm leaving, my role in PASS HQ, but I'll still be involved in PASS as a volunteer.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can imagine.
So continue speaking, continue organizing and volunteering, and even things like mentoring others. I have a lot of experience now talking to members of the community, and I'm more than happy to continue helping in that way. But I do want to go back to tech. Like I said, I'm a huge geek, and I miss development, and I really want to do more on BimlHero projects with all the cool things they're working on now. So going back to tech and doing that on a daily basis, and then doing all the volunteering on weekends and my spare time.
Yeah, so basically you was missing the tech, stuff.
I am. I'm missing developing things and seeing things actually being created.
Yeah. Are you teaching something new, yourself during such conferences?
Well, if I learn something?
Yeah.
I learn a ton.
If you are, as an attendee.
Yeah, I like to go to sessions about topics I know nothing about, to be honest. Like things that I don't work on, introduction sessions to things that is so far away from what I do. I love doing that just to get an idea of all the possibilities that are out there. And I recently, I went to Microsoft Ignite, and that's a great place to just check out some of the sessions on, products that I don't use on a day-to-day basis, just to see how does that tie in with what I'm doing. And the more you know about these things, I feel like, the better prepared you are.
So this is probably the hardest question in this interview. Are you a perfectionist?
Yes. Very difficult question. Yes, I am.
Oh, it wasn't very difficult.
Difficult question and simple answer. But from your perspective as a professional, I know that you are, because that is my feeling when you're presenting. That what I feel watching your recorded sessions. But what about your daily life?
Very much the same.
Very much the same. Okay.
Yes. So if you ever see the inside of my apartment, things are very neatly organized and sorted, and my clothes are, they're not messy at all. So I'm very much a perfectionist in my personal life as well. And I'm not sure I would use perfectionist, but I like ordering things. I like things being, aligned properly. And I always make a joke that if you have, a tablecloth with checkered or like any kind of pattern, I have to put my glass down so it's, centered in the pattern or something. It's a horrible thing, but it's my personality, and that's why I think working with data is so good for me, because I'm naturally very good at ordering and sorting and grouping and making sure that things are the right way. And same thing for my presentations, making sure that things look nice, and attention to detail, which in some ways can also be a curse, because I've been working hard on learning, that 80% might be good enough. I want it to be 100% all of the time, but it might not be practical to continue striving for that. So I'm also trying to learn that 80% is good enough. It doesn't have to be completely perfect all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Which is probably unachievable.
Yes, it's not achievable, and it can stress you out if you always try and get to that perfect.
What hints would you give to young people who wanted to start in the IT market?
Oh, who want to start? Find something that you enjoy doing. I think that's the most important thing. I could say that, find the hot topic right now and aim for that, because you'll get a good job or whatever. But I feel it's more important to find something that you enjoy, that you think is fun, and that you really want to just sit down and learn more about, because that's the kind of passion you want in a job, because you have to do this every day. So find something you think is fun and dig into that. At the same time, try and learn more about things that you might not use, and just kind of dive into a topic that you enjoy and learn a little bit about everything else.
And this is a PASS Summit conference. The PASS Summit using a lot of volunteers.
Yep.
I think this is a very good opportunity to tell the people why it's worth to be a volunteer on the conferences and be engaged in the other organizations.
Absolutely, and that's what PASS is all about, is buy-in for the community, buy-in for volunteers. There are so many ways that by volunteering you can advance your career and you can grow personally. So one thing is, obviously, by volunteering you are on site, you get to talk to a lot of the speakers, if you are a room monitor or something like that, so you can get to know more people and network in that way. But it's also helping you with soft skills like communication, and it's also good for your resume. If, for example, you just have a single job on your resume, if you're a young person in IT, for example, you have one job, but then if you add, hey, I volunteered at my user group, or I volunteered at a SQL Saturday, you're showing potential new employers that you are active and you're willing to take that extra step. And for me, if I had, 2 people applying for a job, one who was good at their job but did nothing else, and one who was good at their job but also volunteered, no doubt I would pick the person who did that little extra, because it just shows that you are passionate about what you do.
Yeah, the attitude, yeah?
Yeah.
How important is, from your perspective, a passion to do something? How can it help young people to achieve something which is really big? Because people would like to dream big. They should dream big, but how the passion can drive them there. What do you think?
I think if you find something you're passionate about, it's something that you want to do, and it doesn't make it a chore. It's something you want to do, and you keep doing it. And you know, if you enjoy what you're doing, it's something that you want to do more of. And that passion can, especially in technology, you know, you can learn more about a topic, for example, and get, you know, a deep understanding about technologies if you're passionate about it, and that can help you get better at your job. Or in terms of volunteering as well, the more you do it, it's just going to help you, because you build those connections, you meet new people, you get to travel to events, and I think, you know, if you have passion and you enjoy what you're doing, there's no limits. Like, you can go and do whatever you want if you keep doing that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, at the end of our conversation, tell us where we can find you on
Twitter, Facebook.
Where, well, I'm easy to find, as long as you can spell my name. I know I have that funny Scandinavian spelling. I blog on catherinew.net or Cathrine Wilhelmsen, but that's, you know, longer to type. You can find me on Twitter at CatherineW. And if you go to either of those places, you'll find links to my other social media as well. I've done a couple of interviews that I have up on my YouTube channel. I post pictures on my Instagram. I share things on my SlideShare, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well. The only thing is, my Facebook is the one thing I don't use for any work-related things. That's mostly for friends and family to stay connected in that way. So I don't post a lot of interesting things there, but everywhere else you can find
Facebook is reserved for your private life.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, thank you very much, Cathrine, for this discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for inviting me. I had a great time here.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
And see you soon in Wrocław.
Yes.
Thanks, Damian.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us, listening this podcast, and time spent jointly.
You can find this podcast on website sqlplayer.net.
Share this episode if you like it, and let us know if you want to hear a specific person from SQL community, or maybe about interesting topic or technology. Thank you very much for watching. As always, all useful links can be found in the description to this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, or leave a comment down below. Also, please appreciate this work and hit the subscribe button so I can reach out more people in SQL community who might be interested in listening this podcast or watching other videos on this channel. In the meantime, have a fantastic day and see you next time. Bye bye.